Okay, I haven't really made a video like this before, where I'm just talking about a movie or something, but, first time for everything. I'll be recording this on my phone, so if the audio sounds weird, that's why. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about a movie I like a lot, and that is the first Barbie animated movie, Barbie and the Nutcracker. Not exactly a movie, I'd say. If you're trying to get someone into Barbie animated movies, I would recommend Princess and the Pauper or Magic of Pegasus. But Barbie and the Nutcracker is one of my personal favorites. I don't exactly have clear notes for this video. I just took a page in my sketchbook and scribbled all over it. I might put a picture in here to show it. Oh, also, I would not say this is a video explaining the movie for people who haven't watched it. This is more a video for people who have watched it before and just want to hear someone ramble about it. Okay. Yeah, so I rewatched this movie, which gave me the idea to make this video. And there was a ton of stuff I hadn't really recognized before. Mainly, I guess it's because when you watch a movie since you were a kid, it kind of feels like when you're watching it, it flows into a pattern. Not just that you understand what the story is, but that the memories you've had before follow a pattern too. Like each time you rewatch one scene, you might think, oh, I remember when I was little, and every time I'd watch this, I'd sing the song with it, and then that memory enters the space in your head, and you don't really process anything new while you're watching the scene, if that makes sense. So doing it now, it was actually pretty interesting, because I feel like I absorbed a lot more about what was going on. Breaking it down into the story, one thing I appreciate is wondering how the people who made this movie came up with so many new ideas for it, because like it's adapting the story of the Nutcracker book and the Nutcracker ballet, but then like so much of it is just new and not things you would inherently think to add to the Nutcracker specifically. Like Pim the Bat. I can see where they're going with that, where they wanted like a little animal sidekick or anti-sidekick villain. But then there's the rock monster. Why are you made out of rocks? Because, I mean, it's the Nutcracker, so you think, oh, well, what if he was made out of snow? Or what if he was made out of candy that they brought to life from all the stuff they stole from the village, because apparently they can't make their own food. But now I guess tearing down the foundations of your castle is the next best thing. What else? There were little details like how in Clara's house, on the wall there's a bunch of photos, which I never really looked at before. And maybe you aren't really supposed to look at them, because this movie would have been playing on like old TVs and the image would have been a little grainier. But, I mean, they put it in there, so they were paying attention to details. I think one of them was of a blimp, a dirigible, which actually, that was pretty cool. It actually placed the movie in a specific time period. That didn't sound very clear. It placed the movie at an earlier time period than I thought it was taking place. The village, like, you know how they're like the candy village, but they also live in the forest, a bit in the trees. When the mouse army steals all the villagers' stuff, the bags are made out of little leaves. I was like, oh, that's a cute detail. Like, you didn't have to do that. You could have made them out of burlap sacks or something and made it simpler. But you added those details in, and it makes the world feel more whole. This is one I had noticed before. On the castle, when it gets restored, there's a little pineapple on the gate, and I was like, oh, that's cool, because people used to, like, pineapples were a symbol of hospitality, and people would bring them back from trips, and they were considered, like, a very unique, sweet thing. I'm not sure people gave them as Christmas gifts. I know they did that with oranges. Either way, it was a neat thing to add, because I was like, oh, well, I mean, if you were thinking of, oh, let's add stuff to a castle for a kid's movie, you might not immediately think pineapple. You'd think, oh, let's put a peppermint or something on there. when when the Mouse King said the Sugar Plum Princess is kind, clever, and brave, I was like, oh, that's basically the Triforce if Ganondorf wasn't evil. Now let's get into the characters a bit. Oh, a little thing about Major Mint and Captain Candy. I realized that when Tommy, because I could not understand what Tommy said at this point as a kid because I didn't know what the words were at all, like dictionary-wise. But I think when Tommy gets his two toys from his aunt, he says they're a Grenadier Guard and a Bengal Lancer. And then I'm pretty sure that's the same type of soldiers that Major Mint and Captain Candy are. So that was a neat bit of foreshadowing there. Okay, I'm going to be honest, the rest of this video is basically going to be talking about Clara and Eric specifically. So looking at the movie now, it's pretty neat to see how they're both going down similar paths. Clara's trying to learn to be braver, and Eric, in a way, is also trying to do the same thing. But at the same time, I have always wondered, because, like, Eric didn't want to be king, right? Which makes sense. His dad died. He was nervous about doing the right thing. But also, I mean, I know the guy is prone to exaggerating things, but Major Mint, when he's, like, roasting Eric at the treehouse, he said he was, like, lazy and irresponsible or something. And the way he said it, it made me think, well, was Eric a bit of a jerk before this happened? Like, did he really become kind-hearted after the fact? Because I feel like the story could lean either way. But, I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. It's like, dang, like, what if he did really suck? He's really is trying to prove himself now that he's being a better person to help his kingdom. I'm not really set on either option. I think both are just cool to think about. I'm gonna focus on design right now because this movie is so, like, it's, I do genuinely find this movie to be so pretty. It's very dated, but they put so much care into it. Like, the characters, they make so many expressions on their faces that, well, the technology they use comes off as definitely being old. For me, it never reaches the point of being creepy. Instead, like, the emotions still come across really clearly, whether they're exaggerated, I don't know, exasperated, or feeling like different types of happiness, gentle happiness, excitement, rage. It all feels natural. And then Eric's design as a Nutcracker, they put a lot of work into making that feel like it could be something you could actually make. I imagine it was hard to figure out how you were going to make this guy the Nutcracker, but then have it so he could still not scare the kids watching the movie. And I think they found, like, a really cool way to do it. When he's making expressions, his mustache and eyelids can move, but his mouth can't. They had to work with all those subtleties, and it does work. I think at one point in the movie, when they're running from the mice in the woods, they make I didn't pick up on this before, but they make a point that when they're running, they cut to Clara. She's running and panting, and so are the kids. And then when it cuts to Eric, there's, like, no breathing sounds, because he can't breathe. That's tragic. And then there's the point where they clearly say, he's like, I'm a Nutcracker, sleep's kind of pointless. It's like, yeah, bro, that's sad. One part of his design I'm not too sure about are how his limbs are attached. It looks like they have pegs through them, but his arms also come off in a way where that wouldn't work unless the pegs broke. So maybe it's kind of like a semi-ball joint where there's, like, little bumps on the inside of the arms and they click into place. I don't know, I guess, like, bionicle limbs, kind of like that. I think that's the closest it gets. He kind of has the uniform skirt thing around his waist. It's cut into panels with small ball joints attached to each one, which allows them to go up and down. to allow for like more movement on the design so he doesn't come across as too stiff. And since we're on the topic of his design, I know that there are some people who compare his human form to his Nutcracker form and they're like, no, go back. But honestly, I've always been fine with both of them. Like, don't get me wrong, I like this, but I also like this. Because it really hammers home the point that this guy had everything taken from him, including his form. No one's able to recognize him. He can't recognize himself. It's part of the tragedy of the situation. And, he just gets to be a normal dude again. Well, I guess not exactly normal. He knows how to sword fight and stuff. That takes skill. I think what threw people off is that his head just looks lonely without his hat. Now, I guess we can talk about the ending. As a kid, I didn't doubt that, the magic happened. But they still make it a story within a story, so part of you's like, well, did it? What was going on there? Looking at it again, I saw a couple little, small details that reaffirm it happened. Like, how Clara gets the necklace from her ornament? And then later, when she comes back home, it does a shot of the ornament, and I'm pretty sure the necklace is no longer on there, so someone had to take that. Eric shows up, gives it to her. They both look at the clock unprompted to look at the owl. If anyone was like me and was like, I know they were there, but also were they? Don't worry, they were there. I think that's all I've really got right now. My final, I don't know how to close off this video. I guess my final thought could be that to leave you all with, when Eric blocks the shot of magic with his sword, my brain started thinking of Shrek 2. So, I guess Shrek 2 was inspired by Barbie and the Nutcracker. I don't know, I guess closing thought would be, go watch Barbie and the Nutcracker right now. I don't care that it's not December. It is the time. Also, have a good day. Bye.